Okay, we're going to start with the customer panel. Much by popular demand, a lot of our clients have asked to get some perspective from existing customers, some sharing of best practices, etc. So what I'd like to do is start by having each of you introduce yourselves. Maybe we go right to left, please. We'll start with you, Holland.
Awesome. Is this thing on? Okay,
Yeah.
I can hear myself. Awesome. Hi, my name is Holland Berry. I'm the CTO for a company called Catbird. I've been in technology for over 25 years in various roles. With Catbird in particular, I oversee everything customer-facing as related to our products. So I have a heavy hand in what's being built and making sure that what we're building is what people actually want. So I oversee our solution architecture team, all of our forward-facing customer folks, and work a lot with our engineers and things like that. So very, very customer and product focused.
Terrific. I'll move to David.
Yeah, I'm Dave Rasco with the Monterey Bay Aquarium. I'm the Director of IT Operations. The Monterey Bay Aquarium is a public institution, nonprofit, located down in Monterey, California. We're a public aquarium. We do about 2 million visitors a year. We've got roughly 550 employees, the aquarium the original benefactor of the aquarium was David Packard, and our executive director is Julie Packard. So we do have a lot of Cisco gear in our facility, but no. So we're very HP centric. And we've just partnered with Dasher last year to help us improve our infrastructure and so forth. And I've been there for 29 years, so I've seen a lot of changes at the aquarium over the years. So glad to be here.
Terrific. Thanks, Dave. And Eric.
My name is Eric Fisher. I'm the IT Director of NewScale Power. NewScale Power is a nuclear engineering company based in Corvallis, Oregon. And what we're doing is, we don't manufacture, we don't sell anything. We're designing the next generation reactor to replace the designs that are currently in use today. So, what I tell people is that, much like the car you drove in the 1960s is not like the car you drive today. If you think about it, technologies in a car today, you've got all these safety systems, you've got, anti-lock brake systems and anti-rollover, skid control, all these new technologies that are put into a car to make it safer. We're doing the same thing for the nuclear industry. So we're a nuclear startup, which is fairly unheard of. I've been at the company for about 6 years now. And when I started, there were 35 employees in a little tiny bank building. We had about 5 or 6 people in every office, so everybody was bumping chairs up against one another. And now we're at about 350 employees and about 400 contractors. So there's been quite a bit of growth in the last 6 years or so, just trying to manage all the different things we need to do to get that design certified.
That's terrific. Eric, another question for you then. The employees that you have, are they domestic, international, or where are they located?
Well, the vast majority of the employees we have are domestic. We do have, being a nuclear company, we're predominantly U.S. employees, but we do have folks that come in from all over the world. We've got folks from South Africa, from South Korea. We're working with other partners in Italy, so we do have a small UK presence that we just opened up as we try to develop that market.
Terrific. Okay, so the next question, I'll stay with Eric. What are the 2 or 3 key IT initiatives you have on your roadmap for the next year or so?
Sure. So being a relatively new company, there's a lot of infrastructure that needed to be built in a very short amount of time as the company grew very quickly. And we find ourselves now, 6 years later, thinking, okay, there's some areas that we need to modernize. One of them is the concept of unified threat management. So we are modernizing our network, firewall, security infrastructure to really be able to look at our environment holistically. Which user is doing what with which device, accessing which site, and really wrap all of that up with comprehensive analytics. So again, part of that is because we're not manufacturing anything, all of our value is intellectual property, and so we take that very seriously. And then paired up with that, the other thing that we're really looking at is, in this day and age, just assume that either you've already been breached or you will be breached. So we're thinking about, well, what can we do to kind of go the extra mile to protect our data? And so now that we've classified data according to a business criticality, we're looking at, okay, where are our crown jewels, and how can we encrypt that data persistently, whether it's in transit, in storage, in use, so that if we do assume we've been breached, that will at least mitigate that somewhat.
Great. And then Dave.
Yeah, our main initiative for next year is disaster recovery and business continuity. We are coming pretty much from a legacy IT environment that was not redundant. We didn't have a lot of backup systems, and so I've been working over the last year or so on formulating more redundancy in our infrastructure, protecting our network. We're looking at setting up a disaster recovery or DR site next year to be able to maintain business continuity at the aquarium. We're essentially a retail type of environment, and we depend on our network, our infrastructure, and we need to be able to recover from anywhere from very small disasters to larger scale incidents. So that's been our primary focus, at least in the operations side. We're also we've expanded our IT group at the aquarium. We went from 8 or 9 IT staff, and we're up to 25 now. And well over half of that is more development staff. We're looking into enhancing our business intelligence at the aquarium, analyzing data, connecting the dots for people visits so that we can transform. A person, Holland was just telling me that he had gone to the aquarium when he was much younger, and we have a lot of that at the aquarium. And so we're looking to make them a long-term customer, if you will, for the aquarium. So they start out going there as a kid. Later they become a member, and we hope to turn those folks into donors and then into big donors. And so we want to do what we can with the data that we're able to gather to maintain that relationship, and so that people come to the aquarium for a lot of reasons, but a lot of it is based around our mission, and which is conservation, and so we want to be able to maintain that relationship, that customer relationship, going forward.
That's great. And Holland, finally.
Yeah, so we just actually are on the tail end of a major initiative to get rid of our internal data center and move it all to a colo, and that's actually something you guys helped with. I'll go into detail of that a little bit later. So that's been a big one for us, and as a piece of that, we're a development shop. We make software, and one of the things that we have that I think is not unique to us, but it's a high rate of change in our infrastructure. We need to spin up these very elaborate environments with nested hypervisors and do all this scenario testing and customer environment emulation. And so we need to automate more. We've got 3 full-time DevOps guys. We have the augmented help from your team, and even some other outside folks. And it's hard to keep up with some of the things, especially when we get a request from a customer saying, "Hey, can you integrate with this?" or scenario test this thing with like 1,000 hosts. So we need to have the infrastructure that's consumable and that's automated. So building that a cloud-like environment in our private colo, and then also as a piece of that, identifying which pieces of that can be moved out to the cloud, like Azure, Amazon, things like that. So we're not the houser necessarily of that infrastructure, because there are things that we could be doing out on the cloud that we're not right now. So Those would be the 2.5 things we're working on.
Terrific. Sticking with you, Holland, then, what types of services and capabilities, I guess, are you looking for out of a value-added reseller?
What we look for and what we get from you guys is deep expertise in areas that we don't have on our staff. So we've got some fantastic domain generalists with some very specific swim lanes of expertise, but they can't possibly know everything. And you guys and your ecosystem of partners have been able to come in and help us where it would have taken us a lot longer, or we wouldn't have been able to do it ourselves, just because we would have had to have some sort of outside help. So it's just our one-stop shop to make all that happen.
Great, thank you. David?
Yeah, and I echo that. The same reason we look to a VAR is to provide those the expertise and to help us actually formulate a solution to something rather than just here's the equipment, you figure it out type of thing. And though we have, we've expanded our IT department, we still only have 5 people on my team, and we spend a lot of time with help desk tickets and things like that. So we don't have a lot of sysadmin and technical experience. And you guys have been been very helpful in enhancing that and helping us, kind of move to the next level with those outside resources. So.
Great, thank you. Eric?
Yeah, and I guess I'd echo a consistent theme here is that, I need my VAR to actually add some value. And usually that's, for me, through strong customer service, right? So I need someone I can partner with that goes beyond the sale and knows and understands my business. Because like you guys said, we've all got limited resources, limited staff, and I can't have them be an expert in every SKU. But at the same time, I don't need a VAR that is going to come in with a solution that isn't inappropriate for my business. So, for example, for us being in the nuclear business, we have very rigorous controls around how we use software. So, it all has to be certified down to the hardware level. And so, when we put a system in place, it's very costly for us to change it, not just the hardware and the install time, but for the engineers to recertify it. And so, occasionally I'll come to you guys with a problem where I need to do an upgrade or a modification to a system that's end of life. And I've got a technical sales team that understands that, bringing in all new infrastructure isn't always the way to go. So a VAR that is integrated with my business, that understands what my challenges are, and can work with me on solutions is really important. Again, beyond just the sale. And then also it's important to me to have a VAR that'll stand by the product and the solution. So, nothing is perfect. Things break all the time. What matters to me is how quickly can we fix it, and how do we go about getting that job done. And I wouldn't say that I expect Dasher to come in and fix every problem, but what I would expect from a VAR like Dasher is to at least put me in contact with the OEM and get that problem resolved quickly when there's an emergency. And so again, it comes back to strong, consistent customer service.
Terrific. I'm going to go back to Holland on this one. You alluded to it, a project that we participated in that went pretty well. I'd love for you to expand on that.
Yeah, there's been a number of them. They've all went well, but a couple of recent examples. I talked about our data center migration to the colo. You guys helped a ton with that, from the physical moving of the equipment to getting it set up and just working with our team and making sure that we did it over a weekend. We shut down at 5 o'clock on a Friday, and we were back up and running on Sunday. And you talked earlier at the top of the meeting here about you guys going the extra mile, and I was calling Charlie. We all were, because we were missing some cables or something from a switch, and you're running all around town trying to get them, and that's the type of hustle that we've seen from you guys. Another piece of that was we had one of our customers challenge us to do an integration with an SDN controller, and it required some special switching and things like that, and we just didn't have the people to do it. So, and this is in flight while we're trying to move the data center. You can imagine how fun that was. So you guys came in and really helped us get that stuff set up yeah, in a very, very short time frame. It was an unreasonable ask. But we did it, we're up, we're testing, and we're on schedule with our development. And we would have had to call someone, but we were lucky to have you guys right down the road.
Terrific, thank you.
Yeah.
Dave?
Yeah, about a year ago, we contacted Dasher to help us do a kind of expand our virtual environment. We were just sort of getting started into that. We still had a lot of physical servers and so forth. We were transitioning to a virtual environment. In addition to that, we had a storage solution that we weren't satisfied with. So what we ended up doing with Dasher was enhancing that virtual environment, adding some host, and then we brought in the HP 3PAR storage solution to basically change out the product that we were not satisfied with. They also helped us start that redundancy project that we're concerned about. We have two data centers on site that are connected, and so they set up a VMware Metro cluster for us, put 3PAR at both data centers, and those are now replicating in real time, and that helps me sleep at night. So
Sleep is important.
yes.
So for us, again, coming back to we're kind of at the phase of this company. We're doing a lot of infrastructure modernization. We had a project recently where our data growth is just out of control. One of the challenges that I have running the IT infrastructure is that my business lines don't give me a whole lot of certainty. They can't tell me how much data they're going to generate, whether they need to keep it, when they'll need something. And so we very quickly found ourselves in a situation where our backup windows were running 3, 4, 5 days, and we're imminently about to hit a week just in data backup. And so one of the things we clearly needed to do was really take a fresh look at the data we were generating, the data we needed to keep, and then how we were going to manage that, not only from just a traditional disaster recovery perspective, but again, because we have nuclear regulations on top of that to adhere to, how does that backup then, how do we assure recoverability, 10, 20, 80 years down the road, right? And so the sales team at Dasher helped us with just kind of scoping the solution. HP has just a tremendous amount of networking products, storage products, virtualization products, and again, it's too much for my engineers to really kind of sort through it all. So they were able to come in and really look at our environment and make some suggestions for how we could do a modernization. So we went to 10 gigabit networking, transitioned to HP Data Protector as our primary backup solution, so it would integrate in the future with our 3PAR. We also implemented HP Connected Backup for our endpoints, and then have the Store Once appliance driving all of that for disk-to-disk backup and replication, and then offloading to tape for the long-term archiving. So it was a lot of things that we needed to look at, too many products for our heads to think about, and so again, it's that VAR experience that really helped us out.
Great, thank you very much for that. Changing gears a little bit, a lot of buzz lately about hyper-converged and a lot of the solutions out there, both single-threaded with one manufacturer as well as collaborations between many. Any opinions about how that industry affects your businesses? Because your businesses are quite different from each other. So I'll start with you, Hal.
Yeah, sure. So for us, I think hyperconverged is great, and it's something we've been looking at. That DevOps use case is perfect for us. We need to scale horizontally. It's pretty predictable most of the time, compared to converged, where we don't have these specialized applications that have insane resource requirements where you need to tune up one part of the stack. Maybe it's storage or CPU or whatever, and dedicate it. That's where I think maybe converge would be a better thing. But for us, that ability to not only scale horizontally, and just the consumability and the manageability and the total cost of ownership makes a whole lot of sense. So you get that Amazon-like experience, ideally. I think that's the promise of it over the next couple years, that consumption model, and just the easy use. So I'm excited about it. We're dabbling in just the thought process right now.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, I think it'll help us a lot.
Good, thank you. Dave?
For us, it's a totally new concept. I really haven't put much thought into that particular, technology. We've just recently expanded. I know that it helps with simplification, and that's intriguing to us. Again, we're a nonprofit. We have limited resources, and I want to make things as simple as possible in our IT infrastructure. So that might be something to, have us change our focus toward that type of environment. But right now, it's a totally new concept to us. So I'm not sure, how we would, actually get involved in that. So.
Okay, good. And Eric?
So for us, we've just started to look at some hyper-converged solutions. We're considering it for one of our branch offices. And from my perspective, hyper-converged platforms make a lot of sense, particularly for small businesses, because you've got something that's very easy to set up. It's a turnkey solution. You don't need a whole lot of staff with a high level of skill to operate the environment. But on the flip side, my background is I came from a very large global IT outsourcing provider, and one of the projects that we worked on was a global data center modernization. And I can tell you, boy, I wish I would have had a hyper-converged solution back then, because when you embark on a project like that, one of the things that hyper-convergence gives you is the ability to deploy very repeatable modular infrastructure. And so when you're trying to do something at tremendous scale, you can't have tier 4 engineers at every location. So you have to use offshore resources. You have to use different expertise levels. And so to be able to have a solution that I can deploy 1,000 units in Asia Pac, and have employees who are relatively junior manage that, is absolutely fantastic. So I think we're definitely going to see more of it, particularly in the large enterprise space. But what I get concerned about is, when you think about it, hyper-converged solutions take what amounts to a very standardized infrastructure and layers on a fair amount of OEM secret sauce on it, right? And so, particularly for companies that find themselves in a merger or acquisition, how is interoperability going to play between different hyper-converged platforms? And so I think that's going to be kind of the next key thing over the next couple of years. As every vendor comes up with their solution, customers are going to demand, right? Yeah, how's this stuff all going to work, guys?
Terrific, thank you. You started your discussion with one of your main projects is managing your intellectual property, that being the cornerstone to NewScale and what you guys do. With all the breaches that are happening, it seems like every single day there's another breach. What steps are you taking, and what other things do you think you have yet to do?
Absolutely, it really is never ending. As a intellectual property company, we put a tremendous focus on security. So, end to end, from our perimeter through our core down to our endpoints. We emphasize security at the employee level through continuous training, it seems. We really just drive that point home every chance we get. Again, it's all around protecting our value. Our company just wouldn't survive without our intellectual property. And so, on top of the technology, on top of the training programs for the employees, we also recognize that we're not always the weakest link, right? And so, as we develop our supply chain, now we're thinking about, well, how do we secure our intellectual property when we hand it off to subcontractors to work on it, right? And so we're starting to look at solutions to protect that data as it leaves the company appropriately, so that it doesn't leave from there inappropriately. Absolutely, yeah.
Dave?
Yeah,
Your space is retail, right? I mean, as you described it, so.
Yeah, basically retail. So there's a lot of concern around PCI and things like that. We probably haven't focused as much on security as we should have or should be doing. Yeah, I had the breakfast conversation with a couple of wireless guys, and I wanted to throw my cell phone out in the lake out there because of what I heard. But we don't have a lot of intellectual property, but we do have a brand that we need to protect. So that's always a concern. And to be honest, we should be paying more attention to security. Again, given our limited resources and budget, sometimes security doesn't take the top priority for us. So.
Okay. In Holland?
Yeah, so we make security software. I didn't articulate that at the time when I introduced myself, but we make a hypervisor integrated security appliance. And so we probably have a heightened sense of security, even though our crown jewels are mostly around our intellectual property and the employee data that we house and things like that. So we have a traditional perimeter like you'll have, and then we actually have our software running in our production and DevOps environments. We call it cat food. Very clever.
Instead of dog food.
Yeah, exactly. So we're doing intrusion detection at the vSwitch level. We're doing vulnerability scans at the hypervisor level. We're doing microsegmentation, kind of all the things. We're practicing what we preach, essentially. Our software holds people accountable to certain regulatory standards, to PCI, HIPAA, FSMA, things like that. So we're constantly testing the things that we're out preaching in our environment first. So we take it pretty seriously. One of the things that we're working on right now, and it's just a continuous thing, is the simple things like making sure everything that can be two-factor is enabled, and that's a long road there, but that's one of the immediate tactical things that we're working on right now, and there's a couple other things in the wings, but we take security more serious than we
right?
probably need to, just because I don't think we're a big target, no pun intended.
But, yeah.